Welcome on board the National Geographic Sea Lion. We are so happy to have you back and sharing this experience with us here in beautiful Southeast Alaska.
The small ship cruising gives us the ability to go and take advantage of all the little nooks and crannies of Southeast Alaska.
So many people think that male with the big dorsal fin is going to be the leader of the pack. Actually, though, killer whales travel in a matriarchal society. When you do get a chance to see whales like this, to see whales up close and so active, that's when you really realize, wow, we've missed this.
The silence, the solitude is surreal. Just listen to nothing.
Glacially scoured landscapes with mist and low clouds making their way across the rounded hills.
John Muir was an incredibly poetic explorer, and his descriptions of these places are still some of the most beautiful descriptions that we have. In the development of these, nature chose for a tool not the earthquake or lightning to rend and split asunder, not the stormy torrent or eroding rain, but the tender snowflowers, noiselessly falling through unnumbered centuries, the offspring of the sun and the sea. Laboring harmoniously in united strength, they crushed and ground and wore away the rocks in their march, making vast beds of soil, and at the same time developed and fashioned the landscapes into the delightful variety of hill and dale and lordly mountains that mortals call beauty. This is a great place to see stellar sea lions. And these stellar sea lions are named after George Wilhelm Steller, who came here on the Bering expedition in 1741. But what's interesting about stellar sea lions is that they are huge. Sea otters have an amazingly dense fur coat, and some of that is up to 1 million hairs per square inch. Sea otters are the largest of the weasels. They eat approximately 25% of their body weight every day.
In the distance, we spotted a brown bear that was foraging right along the shoreline. Being quiet and stealthy as we were, we just got to watch this natural foraging behavior that was so special to all of us.
Admiralty, Baranof, Chichikov, brown bear heaven.
We saw the most amazing mother bear and 2 cubs just checking us out.
And in every direction that we look, we can see waterfalls 1,000 feet high, cascading down hundreds of feet right here in front of us. And just listen to the sound of the water and just feel all that nice breeze and a little bit of mist on your face. And that's mostly coming off of snow melt. This year there was a lot of snow that got dumped up here in Southeast Alaska.
So all the oysters we grow here are Pacific oysters. We grow them here at this facility for around 3 to 4 years. From when we first get them to your plate, it's usually a 4 to 5 year process.
looks a lot more appealing this way.
This size version is almost nose. So all of these, like a needlefish. So
This is the bulb. These are the blades. This is a long thing that we call a stake.
Hey.
Everybody will really enjoy the sights as we walk the bear trails in the forest. We're going to enter the Tongass National Forest, which is just biodiversity central.
I am in the boot sucking mud! Plants have all these ways to try and attract pollinators to help propagate. So if they're trying to get pollinators in, they have to look really pretty on some part of the light spectrum and have this inviting landing zone, and they put out fragrance.
The Tongass National Rainforest is actually the second largest rainforest in the world, second only to the tropical rainforest that you find down in Brazil and South America. While they have incredible biodiversity, and this forest actually has more biomass because the trees are so huge.
The fjord is a location where glaciers have advanced down to the waterline, gouged out the landscape so deeply that as they retreat, the ocean water follows them back on their retreat.
The glacier itself polished the rock smooth, exposing these beautiful bedrock layers.
When the glaciers move through here and scour the walls, they create these really beautiful striations, these chatter marks on the walls, and it makes for just really beautiful textures.
Every once in a while, we find ourselves in a situation out here where there are so many whales that the ship really can't move. That's what we're in right now.
It's amazing, and they look so much bigger than you ever thought.
And there was the bubble ring with the kayak guy inside, which was crazy.
It is so exciting. Without moving at all, we're getting views of a lifetime.
The whales were unbelievable to view them in their habitat. They came so close to the boat, and it was just fantastic. We've never seen anything like it before.
I love ice because it's constantly changing. And as a photographer, that's something that I gravitate towards, something that's always going to look different in different conditions.
And it is so blue because it is so dense.
It's blue because it has been compressed for hundreds, perhaps thousands of years. All of the air bubbles have been compressed out. You're left with pure fresh water, and that water will absorb all of the oranges and the yellows and the reds and reflect out the blue.
Those are patterns that are a result of hydrodynamic action.
So you can see some of that really beautiful scalloped pattern in there. The ice looks like sculpture. It looks like glass that's been carved.
No photograph can really fully capture that intensity. So one of the things you're going to see as you approach the ice are lots and lots of harbor seals. We may see some mothers with their pups up on the ice floes. We'll see a lot of them playing around, checking us out, popping up, looking at us.
The serenity, coupled with the incredible closeness of some of the animals. You can't explain it, you have to experience it. And what a time we had.
A tidewater glacier is a valley glacier that comes in contact with the sea. And when it comes in contact with the sea, it melts from beneath and it calves off, and that's why we have so many icebergs down here. When it hits that water is actually relatively warm, so it melts out from beneath. Calving happens quite rapidly, and it fills up this bay with all this ice.
Whoa! This is phenomenal. Look at, there's some big boulders coming down. When it gets to a certain point in the front, the water warming up the ice faster than the land will cause fissures and crevasses, and that will break off the face of the glacier.
And at the top of the face, what you often see are seracs. Seracs are kind of primed and ready to collapse at any point because they're sitting at the edge of that glacier.
The whole big one's going. Look at that, look at that. Look at that.
One of my favorite things to do in the forest to make sure I'm really appreciating how much life is in here is to just make sure I change my perspective a lot. There is life at every single level here.
What we have here is a banana slug. So this up here is the mantle, and then this is the foot or the body. Do you want to kiss the slug?
Yeah.
These are called sundews. The bugs, which are prolific here in Southeast Alaska, they get stuck, and then it folds in and eats the bug.
Here is a perfect example of this shelf fungus. You can actually count how old it is by counting the rings.
That one's chicken of the woods. I like to photograph the small things on these hikes. We're in the dense forest. I like to look for the teeny tiny fungi. My macro lens is really usually one of the best things to bring on a forest hike.
This is a bird's nest fungus. These little individuals have spores inside them. So the bird's nest fungus is something that we call a splash cup fungus.
There are over 900 species of lichen here.
Let me tell you about lichen. Freddie the fungus and Alice the algae took a liken to one another.
I liken the lichen.
We found a slime mold. It's a bizarre mix somewhere between a fungi and a protozoan. This one is called scrambled egg slime mold and actively streams along the forest floor in search of food.
What I'm so inspired by is how everything has its place and its purpose, and it all works together so exquisitely. And through learning, through the eyes of the naturalist, I look at things differently now.
Alaska is beautiful. Everything is wide open, and everything we're looking at is vivid, and the air smells clean.
This has been an amazing trip, getting to travel again after a really hard
year and going through a pandemic, and being in nature has just been a wonderful experience.